Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name's Andy, Corporate Commander at TFW, and I'm joined this week by the man who sees all the toys at the fair. It's Mikey G. Wolfie 3. Hello, Mikey.
I rig the machines
Why would you rig them?
because that's how fairs work.
Are you the parasite, Mikey? Are you the man that hacks the Circus of Value machines? And the El Bandito machines?
You can't say parasite to me without me wondering why my hand is talking to me.
Hey, Mickey. Ooh.
When that movie got announced, honest to God, when that movie got announced on, because I hadn't heard about it until someone said, South Korean movie wins the Oscars. My God.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, when it was Parasite, I distinctly remember sitting Parasite has won the Oscar. I'm just like, I've seen the Parasite movie. It's not very good.
The live action one. Yeah,
it's kind of shit.
Yeah.
So how to get an Oscar? And then I started coming up with the Oscars are basically meaningless now, and it's just about artsy things. And it's like, oh, new South Korean black comedy movie. Oh, right, that probably explains it.
Can you imagine if Parasite the Maxim, the live action movie, had won? That would that's the point where you're like, okay, I knew the Oscars were trash. Now I really know the Oscars are trash. Now there's no question. Speaking of questions, though, Mikey, not really. We've got Transformers to talk about this week. Toy Fair 2020 happened, where it's 2020 and Toy Fair happened. We've got a few little stories to talk about before we kick off with the kind of heap of the show, and then we've got a story at the end. So I'm going to kick us off, Mikey, with Flame Toys Full Ride Model Kits. We had an IDW Megatron Decepticon version release, which, as far as I can tell, is the same, apart from it has a new face, fusion cannon, and a...
No.
What?
The fusion cannon is the same.
Oh, on the story it says fusion cannon.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, maybe it's just a new face. Okay, I think what it means is, because it says new face, comma, fusion cannon, so it doesn't say new fusion cannon, but it's almost implied by the sentence.
I feel like it was someone who had who knew Autobot Megatron doesn't have a fusion cannon in the comics and saw these pictures and didn't realize that the fusion cannon's with the original toy. Maybe,
but that might just be you being unfair to the writer, but after the stories we've talked about before on the show, maybe.
Also, new face may be a stretch.
Oh, that's what it says here on the story.
No, it is a new mold.
Yeah.
I will give you that, but I would say it's like we've made him very mildly angrier.
Oh yeah, not that much angrier. Huh.
No.
That's weird. And a proper, I would say in quotation marks, Decepticon insignia on his chest.
They give him a different sticker.
Yeah, pretty much. I doubt that's a molded bit of plastic.
No, it's not. There's nothing. That bit is completely flat in the toy. It's just a sticker. From what I've seen, all the faction symbols, bar the Seeker mold, are stickers. That's
just easier, isn't it? There's no reason why it would be a raised bit of plastic, but yeah. It's expected to be released in May of this year at around $50, which I assume is probably what he cost for the Autobot version. Is that right?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see anybody double dipping. I would have mild concern if one did. I
mean, I as someone with a lot of love for Flame Toys, I realized this week it's basically my toy line.
Mm-hmm.
It is my Transformers toy line. And with a lot of love for IDW Megatron. This is stupid.
Okay.
Wow. It's not even a face you can tell. I didn't realize it was a different face until I saw a picture of the two faces together. And you gave him a sticker.
Yeah.
Seemingly. I think there was a potential 1.5 version where you could have released him with a snarling face and the Tarn Decepticon symbol.
Mm-hmm.
From when he tore off his mask. You can stick on the chest, and then also include the standard Autobot symbol, a Decepticon sticker in there as well, and maybe a smiling face, just for and this is Happy Megatron. Yeah. This is the 1.5 version. Something to make me go I could see a reason to buy this over the other one. This is just raw profiteering.
I mean, it feels like a re-release. So if it's the case that the original version sold out, and this is a weird way to kind of get it out there again, it feels it is odd that they'd go to the trouble of making, in quotations, a new face and a new sticker for it. But if it, like I say, if it is the fact that the previous mold is like gone, maybe this is just their way of kind of putting it back out there. Maybe they think they can get a few people to double dip. Like I say, I don't think it would be worth it if you already own it, because you could. I mean, without the new face, which, like you said, since you own it, there's very little difference. All you have to do to make him the Decepticon version is just repro label. Saves yourself some $50, because I'd guess a sticker sheet's probably like $5 from repro labels or less.
It's pretty cheap from what I've seen.
Yeah, so it's a weird one. It's a strange one, unless we've missed something and there is like more differences than either you or I have realized. But I don't think that's the case. Keeping on the Flame Toys train, we have the Kurokara Kiri IDW Megatron figure, which we saw some more images of. We've seen him all colored up in his high gloss finish with his super Gundam Seed wings, I'll call them, because that's very Gundam Seed. It's the Nick Roche design, as it's favorably known.
Oh, this is Don Figueroa. This is the stolen design.
Is it? Oh, okay.
This is the one. Good old editor back in the day. Remember him?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, the pre-John Barber boy, whose name for some reason escapes me, possibly because I've just wiped him from my mind. That he stole off of Don Figueroa.
I just thought this was the Nick design.
No, Don did the Stealth Bomber. Nick did the comic that Stealth Bomber was best shown off in.
That's probably why I think it's the Nick design. But yeah,
no, this is all done.
Oddly enough, he also comes with a very un-Transformers sniper rifle.
I'm assuming that's supposed to be like Voss.
Is it though? But why?
It's the only reason I can think. Like, hey, give it to Tarn.
Yeah,
I got my buddy. He's a gun.
But it doesn't look like him as a sniper rifle. It just looks like one of those, tank buster kind of sniper rifles you get in video games.
Maybe someone heard of like the stealth part of the Stealth Bomber thing and took it a little too literally.
That kind of sniper rifle's not stealthy. That makes a fucking bang when it goes off.
Not if you're like 20 miles away.
No, that stuff still makes a fucking bang. The caliber in those rounds are massive. If we're just talking about human-sized versions of that shit, man, it's I don't think the gun's bad. It's just out of place.
Random.
Yeah, very random, very out of place. But the design looks like really good, though.
You feel like he should have a really big anime sword.
I mean, he's got 6 of them on his back, to be fair.
Yeah, I really hope like they come off individually, because I'm just picturing them as kind of a Zone of the Enders, hover behind you, like energy shield, like flying sword thing.
Yeah, that's why I said Gundam Seed, because they do that shit in Gundam Seed as well. I wouldn't be shocked if they could do that, because it looks like they can open up and get a little bit bigger. If you look between the two photos, they seem a bit bigger while he's standing up, and seem to be in a closed form, I guess, when he's kneeling down. It's oddly enough, I don't think these are the best images you could use to represent the figure, as you get one from the front, but it's quite a distance to give you the entire robot, but there's no like close-ups of the head or anything else. It's just this far away shot, and then the other shot is just him kneeling down, but from behind. So it's a bit odd. But Mikey, you said you've liked this design from the past. Does this do it for you as a Karakuri Kiri Megatron fan? Well, at least a distant Karakuri Kiri fan, because the price is usually a bit on the woofy side.
I'm holding out for having money. Like, Tarn's been announced for a re-release, and I'm just looking at it going, like, what could I sell?
I think you should have just ended it with, I'm holding out for money.
But no, I think this turned out really well. It's a very mecha design anyway, which is kind of a thing a lot of people were put off by back in day.
Oh, of course.
And which means that you don't really have to do much to him to make him look a bit more flame toysy. But I think adding the sort of energy wings is a really nice touch. He looks really well articulated. The sniper rifle doesn't make an ounce of sense, but I'm sure there's some super robot that randomly has a sniper rifle. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. I'd be shocked if something doesn't have a sniper rifle.
I'm sure there was something in Gunsword that had a sniper rifle.
Probably.
I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah. Wasn't the Eldorado machine though, so it doesn't really matter.
No. Who cares about anything but the Eldorado?
That's right.
Dan of Thursday, Dana, fuck off. But no, I think this thing turned out really well.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward for more pictures that show it off in good high quality detail. But I mean, they've yet to have a design I think looks bad.
No, I would agree. The only thing that's been bad about the designs from the Kurokarakiri stuff is the price point. Not saying it's not worth it. Just saying it puts poor boys off. Poor boys with no money, and you go, oh man, poop. But Mikey, before we had Toy Fair stuff this week, there were plethoras of rumours bobbing about the internet, and spoilers, I suppose you could say, for the convention. So a lot of the stuff that was announced at the con was spoiled beforehand, which apparently John Warden frequently poked fun of on the panel. I haven't actually watched the live stream. I watched people watch the live stream, ironically, but I never watched it myself. Did you watch the live stream?
I didn't. I read the highlights.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's probably the more fun way to do it, to be fair. At least it's the most time-conserving. But we also, after all these announcements, which we'll obviously get into, there were other rumours to talk about. So, Mikey, why don't you tell us about these other rumours that have been listed down?
So, rumor-wise, there's been one or two. The first off, these are from a Toys R Us Canada inventory system. Toys R Us is a Canada-exclusive toy shop.
Never heard of
it. They're doing well there, from what I understand. Never really made it beyond their borders. Never really figured out why. I'm figuring there was just like the American market was already too crowded. But yeah, so these listings include Generations Clones 2-pack, which could be new figures, could be a re-release. Generation Selects Hubcap.
Okay.
Earthrise Deluxe Exhaust, which is the first bit of Earthrise news to actually get me excited.
He won't have Marlboro on him though, unfortunately.
True, but I will just like buy one and just walk into rooms, and every time someone pauses for a breath, I'm just going to hold them in front of them and go smoke. WFC Deluxe RC, which is weird because we know she's coming.
Yeah.
Same with Smokescreen. Earthrise Deluxe.
We know the Earthrise RC is coming, but maybe this is the Fall of Cybertron RC.
Well, they're all like War for Cybertron is the banner. So
but what I mean is like it's the Cybertronian version of her, so maybe she'll be another limb for the ever-growing pile of similar limbs.
Maybe. I maybe wouldn't hold out that hope.
No, I know hope is a very strong word.
Earthrise Deluxe Grease Pit, Modulator Micromaster base, Micromaster Spy Patrol, Seeker Thrust.
Who's that?
He is the red one.
I know.
He's the one who's not
red.
Not
he's maroon. You racist. Don't miscolor him.
He's the only one who's never done anything remotely interesting.
Yeah, that's true. No, he tried. He was the more important character in The Girl Who Loved Powerglide, right? That was his thing. That was his best episode.
It's his only No, it was Ramjet who was in the medieval one, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, unfortunately.
SDCC G.I. Joe versus Transformers set.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah.
Voyager Seeker 2-pack. If they're not announced by then, I'm assuming that's going to be Thundercracker and Skywarp.
Or the other two Coneheads, potentially.
But possibly. Cyberverse Repugnance's Revenge, which having now caught up on, having seen 20 episodes of Season 3, I'm suddenly very excited for.
Okay.
Repugnance is awesome. And Movie Masterpiece Unknown.
Movie Masterpiece.
The most popular toy line ever made.
Oh, they're still cranking them out. Well, every now and again.
Andy, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's odd that the clones are coming out because it wasn't that long ago that we got the clones. Oh well, no, they weren't Japanese exclusives.
They were really hard to get, though.
They were stupid hard to get, yeah, because they were sold in like game stores or something in stupid 2-packs.
They were sold in a box set.
Oh, that's right.
The 2-packs.
That's right. 2 of them were sold in a box set with some other crap that no one wanted for the most part. Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, that was awful. So it still feels strange that more clones are coming out fairly soon. That's odd. Earthrise Exhaust is the boring version that you do. You do Slicer, Action Master Slicer, because he's the Wheeljack but with interesting colours.
I have to admit, when I saw Exhaust, my first thought was, why isn't it Slicer?
For some reason they're leaning hard into Exhaust as the repaint for Wheeljack, and unless he's like tattooed up in Marlboro labels, then I don't like it personally.
If we get a shape of his head that has a little cigar, I will buy that.
Oh, Mikey, you weak boy.
I will stick it on. I will like get him a little desk, and he's like the mogul.
Oh, he's not like the private eye detective.
No. He's the guy like, bringing in small children, handing them free boxes of cigarettes and telling them to tell their friends.
Oh, damn. All right. War for Cybertron RC, I've kind of ran through.
I just made it worse.
What?
All the Micromasters, they work for him, and the reason they're so short is that he kept them smoking when they were young.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Oh shit, I've made myself want some Micromasters.
Well, that's your own fault. I think if you buy any of them, it'll put you off, though.
Maybe, but all I need is one.
Yeah, maybe, that's true.
This is my boy. He's been smoking since he was 2, and look how great he is. Daddy, I can't see above the desk. Shut up, boy.
Smokescreen is just another one of those Datsun cars, so I don't care. Grease Pit, yep. Well, we'll be talking more about the Micromaster bases as we go on. Spy Patrol, there's nothing for me. Same for Thrust. I don't know what the G.I. Joe crossover with Transformers will be, if they'll be with a 3 3/4 inch, or whether they'll be with a new 6 inches. Probably not the 6 inches, since they're like, by the time SDCC comes out, it's probably still too soon from when these new G.I. Joe 6-inch figures are meant to be out. But I could be wrong. Repugnus's Revenge means nothing to me, but obviously it means more to Mikey because he knows the context behind it. So, yeah, that's all I've got there. Some weird ones, I suppose, but then some very obvious ones as well.
Yeah, like, I'm curious about some of them, but for the most part, there's nothing in there shocking.
Nah, I wouldn't say so. Shall we talk about Toy Fair, though, Mikey?
Let's talk about Toy Fair and the many reveals therein.
Exactly, yes. So the first one I want to throw out there is the Netflix War for Cybertron Trilogy Siege official trailer. So this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part series. I think that's fair to say. It's done by the Rooster Teeth, I think it was, right? Because he seemed quite happy with who's working on it, at least.
Well, I mean, okay, so
I think you seemed happy. I wasn't entirely sure.
The production company is Rooster Teeth. However, all the writers and showrunners and everything else are the people who are working on Power of the Primes.
Okay.
And the entire Prime Wars trilogy, which makes me think that this thing was in development a hell of a lot longer than we think, and some contracts were signed they couldn't get out of.
Right.
Because remember, no matter how bad it was, the first Prime Wars series did do well in terms of views.
For some horrific reason.
Like, I know the other 2 didn't, but didn't compare, certainly, possibly because their reputation preceded them.
Perhaps.
And also the animation is by Polygon Pictures, who do stuff like Knights of Sidonia and Godzilla.
It's smoother than any of that shit, though, at least.
Yeah, that was, like, I want to talk about that, but I will say I had at least one very pleasant surprise watching this.
Okay, was it the voice of Megatron?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's just the Cyberverse cast.
Yeah, I thought you'd be.
I mean, I like Megatron in Cyberverse. This is like, I'm glad they're doing it now that I've seen them improve through 3 different seasons.
Yeah.
I'm not excited to have them. I'd be more excited if it was a Machinima.
If it was Peter Cullen. Oh, damn, Mikey, me
as
too.
Megatron. Yeah, no. Oh god, I would love that. Peter Cullen as Megatron would be fucking amazing.
It would
and
be
Frank
weird.
Welker is Optimus.
Oh yeah,
Do
well,
it.
why not? Yeah, be brave.
David Cage did it.
Oh, Mikey, that's the Shattered Glass episode.
Oh.
Think of that. Yeah.
What if you had like Cyberverse Optimus, but then Megatron was played by Peter Cullen?
Be strange. Do we know much about it in terms of how long each episode's going to be or when it's going to air?
No, it's very vague. It's coming out in June.
Okay.
So the information we have, because F.J. DeSanto was there. The writers are mostly stuff from Prime Wars plus Brandon Easton, who worked on the Power of the Primes, and he's done a little bit of comic stuff, and I think he did some stuff for Rescue Bots.
Right.
So it's going to be set during the end of the Civil War. Something that we'll come across, I think, when we actually talk about the content of the trailer. The character designs are derived directly from the CAD models for the toys, and their transformation will demonstrate this in the show.
You don't say.
Handled by Polygon Pictures, who did Prime and RID. But then something went horribly, horribly wrong, and they started doing awful Netflix shows with the choppiest animation I've ever seen in anything with a budget.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to have an accompanying toy line, and there is a Netflix spoiler box, which will have one leader figure who's a big spoiler in some way. Yeah, and it's paralleling some of the stuff that's going on in the comics as well. Which you can kind of see because Elite is using her design from the comics.
Right.
And she has not a toy. What did you think of the trailer?
Wow, this feels like, it seems like a fan-made trailer, but with like really high production values. Or higher production value. High production values for a fan-made thing. Seems really dark and edgy script.
Yeah.
And probably because we've been reading the comics. And we're also old men and have been around in the Transformers fandom for a very long time. I'm like, wow, this feels like a story I've seen a lot. And it doesn't seem like it's doing anything different.
No.
But yeah, I really took away the kind of dark, edgy boy feel to it of a fan-made project, which is not a good thing.
I mean, for me, the tone is what I'd expect from what is targeted as adult animation these days.
I guess.
Especially, like, this is American adult animation. Most of it's either wacky, dumb, stupid Rick and Morty kind of stuff, or it's, hey, did you see the blood?
Yeah. There's not a lot of subtlety.
I would say, like, I would like a mature story from this, and I think there's hints that there is one. Like, I like the scene with Optimus and Alita, and I think everyone gives a good performance in this trailer. So I'm not worried about the voice cast. I'm worried Optimus will be written like a robot, ironically, but that's never been the actor's fault. But I like that scene with Optimus and Alita, also because I think it's the first time something feels like it's saying they may be a thing in however many years.
Yeah,
a long time since. Although it's very weird to me, they didn't just use the Power of the Primes design for if they were going so toy accurate. The toy accuracy thing pisses me off. But
I mean, you knew that was coming.
I didn't realize how much it was going to bother me, though. I have to admit, like,
really, because this has been bothering you in comics for a long time.
Yeah, but they didn't have the first shot in the comics wasn't the Seekers, which are basically a plane with something underneath it that looks like that's going to, like, they're dragging cargo all the time.
Would you have preferred they took a few liberties just to smoothen things out?
Just a tad.
Yeah,
just a tad. Also, like, I think having all those, like, ratchet joints and everything else being really obvious in moving figures is going to be really weird to me. Like, even more weird than it is in the comics. But yeah, the big shock for me was the animation, because I don't know what went wrong at Polygon after Prime. Like, RID had a bit of it, but they were trying to emulate 2D animation, and we all know how well that goes. But, like, Prime, it was a fucking gorgeous show, and it still is fucking gorgeous. And my Twitter today had someone go like, Prime wasn't that good, and I was just like, I would beat you in the street.
No.
So I was like, Godzilla is hideous to look at.
Oh god, yeah.
Knights of Sidonia is hideous to look at.
Yeah.
And a lot of their stuff is hideous to look at these days. So when I saw this thing and it had very smooth animation, I was kind of stunned. It's a bit heavier, like the lighting and everything is very typical of what they're doing these days.
You mean dark and moody and gritty?
Everything's slightly brown.
Yeah. It's not like Gears of War brown though, at least. So there is a bit more color, but
and the facial expressions are about on par what Polygon are doing these days.
Yeah, Megatron does have some weird looking lips, but for the most part, the mouths are fine, I suppose.
Yeah, but like, it's not as bad as like no one smiled in this, and then I had that weird out of body experience like I had when I was watching Godzilla. Just like, you can't do this. You shouldn't be doing this. And I'm assuming like this feels like the series Overlord should have showed up in, because he would be among his pucker-lipped people.
True.
But so the animation really caught me off guard, I have to admit. I'll wait I'll watch the show before I start. People are starting commenting on, oh, the show looks awful or it looks amazing based on this, and just like, it looks a tad generic.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's an edited 20-second clip or a 1-minute clip, whatever it was, of what I'm presuming is at least an hour of media.
See, I am like legit concerned that these are going to be 10-minute episodes. They shouldn't be, because like you say, the target audience is meant to be like more mature, so it should be at least Netflix, a half an hour episode.
And Netflix doesn't have the same limitations that in terms of how they target things.
Exactly, but it is still a concern. Just because of how the last load of Transformers media has just been the 10-15 minute episode story thing, which is, like I've said many a time, is not my it's not for me at all. So yeah, we'll find that out obviously later down the road. Like you, I'm gonna watch it and judge it then, but yeah, it feels a little bit try hard at the moment, but maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be good. So I am hopeful that it won't be terrible. It looks at least better than the Prime Wars trilogy, which was just a garbage fire.
I'm hoping that this creative team not having to deal with machinima was a freeing experience for their talent.
One can hope. Sure, definitely.
One can hope. Maybe not hope a lot, but one can hope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not worried about the voice cast.
No, they're fine. Yeah. Just the writing for them. That's the important thing.
It's not, as whenever people complain about it, it's not Jake Tillman's fault that everyone's writing Optimus Prime like he's had some sort of brain surgery.
No,
and can't he's not Data.
No.
Give him a contraction.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is
a emotionless robot can emote better than you with the dialogue you're giving him.
We are still suffering from the movie, the very first movie on that front, and through Prime as well, all from around that time period, and we've never broken out of it, unfortunately.
And I think the G1 domination at the moment is really going to prevent us breaking out of that.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Because everything must be G1.
Yeah,
all must be G1.
Stifling.
I'm doing hand gestures.
Well, that's that. I've talked about that. I'll quickly do this other thing because it wasn't. I have put it in the story, but I've put it further on. But I kind of want to get it out of the way with now. Mikey Super 7 showed off some Transformers stuff. They showed off the Shogun Optimus Prime. Super Shogun Optimus Prime. So you may be like, what's that? That's a 24-inch vinyl Optimus Prime figure that doesn't really do much. The Super Cyborg 12-inch Optimus Prime and Megatron, all variants. There's the Super Cyborg Soundwave, not Super Cyborg Samurai Cyber Squad. The Super Cyborg Soundwave teaser image. There's the Transformers Head Mugs and the Super 7 Reaction Transformers 3 3/4-inch Astro Train Shockwave, Alpha Trion, Rumble. Well, we'll see. I haven't seen the picture, so it could be Frenzy. Preceptor, Blaster, Dirge, Blitz. Oh, it is Rumble. Okay. Blitzwing and Devastator. Devastator being slightly bigger than the rest of them. All of these reaction guys looking like Action Masters in many, many ways. So I wonder how many people will pick these up and actually hate Action Masters, but will maybe still pick these up. I would be tickled. I think these actually look a lot better than a lot of the reaction figures because they actually have a silhouette to them, where 90% of those figures are truncated down to the basic human shape with next to no silhouette, which is why I generally hate them. These at least keep, for the most part, the look of the robot. So I still don't want them, but
No.
they feel almost like they are animation models, almost.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, they don't transform, so I'm sure a load of people hate them on that principle alone, which is fine.
I mean, I'm kind of more curious about that Cobra Bat.
Yeah, that didn't look too bad. Yeah, it's like, all right,
Cyborg Cobra Bat. Come on, I want him.
Yeah, why not? Did you see the horrible display of severed 80s iconic heads?
Yes.
Yeah, like we knew from a while ago that they were doing an Optimus Prime and a Megatron Halloween bucket, but now they've also got some of the Universal monsters. They've got the Werewolf Man, the Mummy, who for some reason is suffering from food poisoning because he's green for some reason instead of being, brown and dried.
Yeah,
it's an odd choice. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster. We've got Alien for some reason, and the symbol for the Misfits. Is that right? The band, the Misfits.
I think so.
Either that or a very beat up Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I've also never really realized how unsettling the Filmation head of He-Man is until you see it blown up and just staring.
Well, I was going to get onto that. They have done Skeletor and He-Man, but to be fair, the Filmation He-Man sculpt is not very good.
No, but it's like what freaked me out is it's like looking at him on TV because he's not emoting, he's staring blankly forward.
Well, yeah, because that's all they could afford.
And everyone's pretending he's not identical to Prince Adam.
Yeah, people were stupid on Eternia. Look at Beastman. He was an idiot. Look at Skeletor. He kept all of his fools around him all the time and kept bitching about how shit they were all the time. Never got rid of them, though.
Why does your tiger have a better disguise than you, He-Man?
Because he got roided up. Meow.
Cringer was just on the drugs. He was on the sauce all the time. He was lifting too much. He got really aggressive to his family.
That's right, man. Oh, here's a question for the Super Shogun Optimus Prime. Have you seen the picture of his feet? Or his legs?
Where he seems to have little wheels.
Yeah. What's that about?
Oh, maybe it's secretly like people are able to like go in him. It's like Trojan Prime.
Oh, that'd be great. There is a problem though, because it looks like the pre-order price for it, the MSRP. Did you see how much that is?
Oh yeah. No, sir.
Yeah, you
had me disappointed when this was called Shogun, and then I saw it, but no.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Please take your wares elsewhere.
Yeah, there's a little dialogue card that says Super Shogun. It has a blurb which isn't close enough for me to read it, and I can't be bothered to strain my eyes at this time of night. But it does say that the MSRP, the pre-orders are open today, and the price is $350, which seems high.
That extreme.
It seems a tad high since that's the price of a Masterpiece figure. Well,
or a Flame Toys.
Or a Flame Toys, yeah. And they arguably do a lot more and have a lot more detail than a big old vinyl figure. But yeah.
Maybe it's just solid vinyl. Maybe that's it. That's like no hollow space.
Oh my god, it would be so heavy. That's some reinforced glass he's standing on if he's just pure vinyl. Holy crap. I'm pretty sure vinyl's not like a light substance. Not when it's dense like that. But I'm actually going to leave you, Mikey, to talk about the movie stuff and the generation stuff, because that's obviously the most fun stuff.
Very well.
As I'll take us on to some stuff that was spoiled for us before the convention, the Toy Fair, which was all about Cyberverse. Yeah. I was like, is this called Cyberverse still? It is called Cyberverse still. It's Bumblebee Adventures Cyberverse, but not in the UK. It's just Cyberverse. Yep. Right? Or something. Yeah. Anyway.
There's 6 episodes at the end of the show where they get a new opening.
Oh, God. Well, do you say new in big quotations where it's just the logo that's changed?
Yeah, just a logo.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so Cyberverse figures. There are some things that we saw earlier and some things we can talk a bit more in depth about. So let's talk about the things I don't care about at all. Officer Class, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee. I don't know which ones these are.
Those are the gimmicky ones.
Oh, yeah, I see them at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Bumblebee has a shield and can get battle armor, and Optimus Prime has a shield and sword. Oddly enough, the shield and sword look very, very movie-esque. But
yes.
oh no, he does get battle armor as well. Seems like they're leaning into this battle armor energy gimmick thing.
He's relatively posable, though.
I guess.
He's got ankle tilt.
Yeah, I'm assuming that these will be the maybe. I don't know. Are these going to be deluxe size or like the ultimate size?
I'm assuming they're going to be like the ultras.
That's what I thought as well. Could be wrong, of course, but you know, it's another way to find out yet one more Bumblebee, I suppose. The Trooper class: Bumblebee, Wild Wheel, Meteor Fire, Starscream, and Megatron. So two interesting ones, and then more characters who we've seen many times before. So once again, it's these characters who seem to get energy armor of some description. Megatron turns into his what I assume it's his Earth mode tank. Yes, it has treads, so it's his Earth mode tank. Then he gets a sickle, not a scythe because it's one-handed, so I'd say sickle. He gets some green on his gun for some reason, and then he gets a armor piece which looks very similar to when he became, what was he, Unicronus in Prime?
Yeah, oh god, what was it?
I think it was just that, to be honest.
No, like it wasn't that I didn't call him anything, it was just like Unicron in Megatron.
Yeah, I mean, they're going for the Galvatron.
Before everything had that was before everything had onus at the end.
No, that's true. It looks like it is. I mean, you could go for that, or you could go for the more obvious thing, which is the Galvatron crown. So they've got that. The Starscream, in his jet mode, has a tail. Yeah, that's weird. He has a little whip. He has some very strange claws. It doesn't actually look that good, but then again, there haven't been many good Cyberverse Starscream toys. I'll let you jump in a moment, Mikey, because the interesting ones we have are which one's this? Wild Wheel, who I was almost a little bit annoyed he wasn't called Quick Strike, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It would have made sense.
Especially since he seems to be a Decepticon. No, he is a Decepticon. Who is a cowboy sheriff dude. Brown car. Brown Cybertronian car who has two green bricks, which I assume are pistols. He has a bandolier. A full-on goatee beard, a la Will Riker from Star Trek Next Generation, and a cowboy hat. And then he gets...
A la Will Riker in Star Trek Next Generation.
What?
No, actually, a la Worf in Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, I could go with that as well. And his armor is a big green piece that goes over his head, and what I assume is trying to pull off a bandana over his face. Like, that's probably the idea that they're going for. And then obviously Meteor Fire, who just looks like, at least to me, oh god, who's that white jet called, Mikey, from RID, the last series? Do you know who I mean?
God, I know who you're talking about.
It was a toy only. He was a deluxe. Sorry, my bad. A warrior class figure. Yeah,
I remember him, but I can't remember his name.
To me, he looks a Spitfire. Was it Spitfire, or was it not?
I don't think so.
It was something like that. Anyway, if you look up RID, you find it one of those jets. It looks like that. It's
Storm
not
something.
Was it
Storm Surge? Stormfire?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's a storm in there.
He has a similar feel aesthetically. He's not 100% one-to-one, but he has a lot of that aesthetic going on. He has like wrist knives, and he turns into a big square that's meant to be a plane. His jet mode does not look good, and he get a little armor plate on front of him. So Mikey, I mean, I can't imagine you have much to see on Starscream and Megatron at least, but you know, if you want
to, they're basic ass basics.
Yeah. What about the other two, the two newer guys?
Meteor Fire. He looks solid enough.
You just mean as a toy, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. The character model we saw before was way more interesting.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling like Wild Wheel especially is kind of annoying because Wild Wheel doesn't look anything like Wild Wheel.
Oh, does he not?
No. Where's his poncho? He has no poncho.
Oh, it's that guy,
also,
the really big guy that we talked about. No, he did. I thought this was an entirely different character, to be honest.
Nope. He had the cowboy. The cowboy hat and beard are accurate.
Right, but then nothing else is.
No.
Oh no.
Which is a shame because I kind of love Wild Will now. So. But yeah, I think they look to me like early versions of the design before they got finalized. But they also look, for what they are, fairly competent. And they look better than Starscream, and they look more interesting than Megatron.
Woo. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up are the Warrior, not the Deluxe, unfortunately. Warrior, Bumblebee, Megatron, Optimus Prime, and a Hammerbite. Hammerbite we talked about last time, I think. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's the hammerhead shark that doesn't do a huge amount. The Bumblebee has the energy sword gimmick again in the armor. Optimus Prime seems to have an axe that comes over his head, and he seems to be in a Cybertronian truck mode.
Which is show accurate now.
Is it?
Slight spoiler.
Okay. And there's a Megatron as well, who is the Cybertronian tank mode, who has the... we talked about this Megatron, didn't we? Yes, because I remember talking about his gun when people were like, oh, he'll be down. And we were like, same for the Starscream as well. So the important ones, we've got Thunderhowl, RC, Hot Rod, and Grimlock. We know that Hot Rod and Grimlock are out in certain places. We found out that RC will be the next wave. You mean with Thunderhowl, Andy? No, I don't. Thunderhowl is his own wave.
That makes no sense.
No, but for some reason that's how it be and how they do. I don't know where it was, but I did see a release schedule sheet, and that's how they decided to release them. So it went like 4 figures first. I don't remember what wave 2 was. Do you?
Grimlock.
No, wave 3 was these two, was Grimlock and Hot Rod, as far as I know.
In that case, it would have been Shockwave.
No, because he was Wave 1. They were
Wave
1.
There's only 8 figures announced.
Yeah, so they must have re-released some for Wave 2, I guess.
Maybe.
And then RC on her own, and then lastly Thunderhowl, who, again, we've talked about. I think this is the first time we've seen RC, though, right?
Yeah. This is also the best picture we've had of Grimlock and Hot Rod. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, though I mean, they were in the cases, I think, at Toy Fair as well. Yeah, so we actually got a good look at them there on top of everything.
Wish Hot Rod didn't have those big arm flaps.
Yeah, it's kind of an issue with some of the Transformer cars, isn't it? Sometimes they're lumped with the kind of door wings, just kind of slapped on. It would be nice if they had like one pin in them, just so you could fold up like the underneath part. So even if they stuck out a bit, at least they wouldn't hang down as far. Do you have any thoughts on RC then? Because it's the only one we haven't talked about.
She is the best looking RC toy coming.
Yeah, I would for the most part agree with you. The only reason why I wouldn't go full on in is because she has a lot of car hanging off of her back. Like, yes. at least with the War for Cybertron one, the Earthrise one that we're going to talk about, you can mitigate a lot of it by just using it for the hoverboard. You can't do any of that here.
No, she is going to... I was going to say she's going to have a lot of problems standing, but she's got much bigger feet than most RCs, so she could manage.
Yeah, I suppose it all depends on the tolerance in the ankles, the knees, and the hips then at that point. Which I would imagine they should be fine.
Yep, but I really like RC in the show, so I'm really glad to see she's getting what looks to me like a solid toy.
But Mikey, she doesn't come with a camera or camera phone.
No, she really and a bigger gun. She needs a bigger gun and a camera phone. These are key accessories for RC.
The gun's a bit of a strange design, as it just looks... It's like a double-barreled square. Like, the handle doesn't seem desperately long for it either.
No, it's like a... If someone said, here's a handgun, but let's have 2 barrels.
And then let's saw off the bottom of the grip so it can be knocked out of your hand easily. It's odd. It's not bad. It's just like a... What do you think of a car mode as well? Because I think the more angular car makes it look a little bit better. At least it probably made it a lot easier to design. I'm sure about that.
I like it. I like that. It just looks more plausible in terms of an actual alt mode than what we usually get for poor old RC.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm digging that.
I'm trying to see if I can find the in-hand shots, which I'm sure I'll find later on. But yeah, that was all of the non-generations and movie stuff. So do you want to take us on to the movie stuff? Not that obviously we have usually a lot to say about that stuff, but
yeah, there's a couple of toys in here I'm interested in.
Oh.
I mean, literally a couple.
Okay.
But so we've got images of the new Overload, who I am academically interested in.
Which one's Overload?
He is the big red Constructicon.
Oh yeah. He's got all the arms,
man.
doesn't he? Yeah. He looks really neat.
Yeah, he looks fun. Again, it's one of those things like it's really nice to see an inventive toy of a design I don't really super care for.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
We also see Skipjack, who is a repaint of Rampage into yellow, who I believe that's what he was in the toy, or
no, he was Rampage for the Revenge of the Fallen line.
But was he yellow? There was a yellow version of him somewhere.
Yeah, that was the yellow version. He was Rampage there, and then they made a red version of him for the Combiner, and then called that one Rampage. As far as I can remember, because I have that deluxe, because they tried to faux his springy leg by shoving all of his dumpster truck scoop behind him, but then you could just remove it, but then he couldn't stand.
We also see another Constructicon Scrapper. We've seen him before. New here is the Voyager Sentinel Prime from Dark of the Moon, who of course turns into a fire truck and is a Spock. I mean, he looks very detailed and pretty darn on it for the design.
Can you remove the top of his head?
I really hope so.
Have him beg on the floor, don't kill me.
You need him like a merciless Prime face.
Oh yeah.
But the first one that's actually interesting me here is the Voyager Blitzwing from Bumblebee. I like that design a lot, and I like that character, and I think that's a solid looking toy. He one thing though, he's a bit washed out in detail because the gray they've chosen is removing a lot of detail from his face.
Yeah. So
I think he's one who would benefit a lot from a panel lining pen.
Yeah, or a wash, like a Games Workshop wash, that'd do it. But no, I would agree with you that for the most part that looks that doesn't look too bad. You know, for a normal person's non-third party one. Yeah,
and also it sets up for a lot of repaints because of course Blitzwing is a seeker in this, so we can give it a new head. You've got Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp.
Oh no!
Although, if you wanted accurate, Thundercracker would have to have different wings.
Okay.
Because his wings are a little different from the other two. In the deluxe class, we've got Topspin, who is one of the Wreckers, I believe. Cool. Are you excited for Topspin, Andy?
As excited for any of the other movie figures, Mikey.
We've also got a very strange one in the form of Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave. Who is kind of... So, Revenge of the Fallen Soundwave is a satellite for the entire movie, so we never see him in robot mode. But there was a toy released which showed what his robot mode would look like, right?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that toy.
This doesn't match anything of that. This is basically an original take on... It's like a stylized version of that design. Who turns into a satellite with a stand.
As you do. Like a JoJo stand.
Oh, don't you be that guy.
I wanted to throw it in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, transformation don't look great.
It looks fine, I suppose. That's the best I can give you, I'm afraid.
This is one of the moments where you say we really are trying to get everyone in there, but it's the fact they had, unless there's a concept art out there for a design that's I think this might be the first original Studio Series design.
You think so?
Yeah. And lastly, we've got Cliffjumper from the Bumblebee movie, who again I'm interested in. I like Cliffjumper's design, and I am getting on the gag train of does he split in half for movie accuracy.
I would probably assume not, to be honest.
He will by the time I'm done with him.
Oh damn.
But no, I think he looks really solid.
Yeah, not bad. Again, they're not for us, but yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Moving on. Will I do Generations or do you want to?
No, you can do that. You can do the Generations, boys.
So, Earthrise, we have many reveals.
Yes.
I'm just going through here. Some of these I'm going to get from the official images that released, and some of these I'm going to get from the what was on display. And I'm also going to include the Netflix figures, which are a series of repaints stuck in here as well, which we'll talk about. So first off, Titan class Scorponok. We've seen him in official pictures and on display. He was apparently a big concern with making sure he was as G1 accurate as possible.
Oh my god.
But it can be confirmed now. He is the first Scorponok toy of the G1 design, up to and including high-end third-party officially licensed figures with real elbows.
Really?
Yes, he has functional, my hands are rotating the right way, elbows.
Did the third-party ones not have that? I assumed they would have.
Well, like Pandanus does, but like the Sentinel, the big Sentinel one, has the big curling iron arms.
Oh no! Oh that's good.
In order to give him proper, like have his hands not look like they're curling up, they for some reason they engineered it so the hand doesn't rotate, but the thumb on the claw rotates to give him a flat palm.
Oh, that's weird. I don't like that.
No. Don't ask me why. No. But yes, so this is the first Scorponok which can, lift things. And yeah, we see the way they've shown how his headmaster works, which is they've gone down the route of Headmaster as the cartoon. So he has a small headmaster, and then a main body, which forms the head of the larger figure.
Yeah.
So it's quite heavy. So I don't know if they're going to go down the fiction for these things. Like these days, it's non-existent. But I think he is probably the thing I'm happiest with out of a lot of these figures.
I suppose so. I think it also makes the most sense for them to do it that way. The little Titan Master into the big one, because that's they know what they're doing with that, and it makes doing proportions easier. They did it with Metroplex, so it's I can't say I'm shocked, but it works. And you're right about it looking like maybe one of the better, more interesting things. I suppose it does look solid.
Yeah, no, I think it's come together fairly well. Yeah. There are other Titan figures I would rather have than Scorponok, and now I'm very curious. Trypticon, I'd rather spend my money in getting a Trypticon, but I've never had money. Anytime he's been on sale, I've never had the money, and then when I've had the money, he's not been on sale.
Oh, see, I'd rather have Scorponok than Trypticon myself.
Yeah, well, that's because you are the devil.
Aye. I accept this role.
But no, I think he looks I'm interested in him. Like, he'd be one if I saw him on sale and I had cash, I would genuinely consider picking him up.
Yes, I think both of us would note on sale because neither of us are happy to spend the price that you would do for full price. Yeah.
I wasn't interested in Omega Supreme. I'm not really interested in Metroplex or Fortress.
No.
And the combiners have not turned out well, in my opinion.
The combiners?
The two combiners, Devastator and Predaking.
Oh, those ones, yeah. Yeah, they're all right. Yeah. I mean, I've got the KO Predaking, and he's all right.
Yeah. But I'm very curious as to what road they're going to go down next with the Titan line.
Yeah.
Like, they've certainly run out of mainline giant figures.
Well, I guess we do the rest of the combiners now. Go back and do them again.
Oh, God. We're doing all the combiners as Titan class.
Yep.
Hey, maybe we'll finally get that Metro Titan.
Oh, Mikey, yeah, no.
Or Grand. We'll get Grand.
No,
they already made Grand, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, it got released in Japan, I think.
No, I thought it was one of those things where people had to pre-order enough and they didn't get enough pre-orders.
I don't think they got enough because there was he was going to come with a shell.
Yeah, that's right. Did they get enough just for Grand, but Grand not the shell?
Max E Moose.
God, this happened a long time ago as well, so it's hard to recall.
Yeah, very. I'm looking at. No, yeah, he got an official release.
Okay, it just must not have came with the shell then, I guess.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Released in 2018. So yeah, Scorponok I think looks fairly solid. Next up we have Leader Class Double Dealer, who does very much look like the G1 toy with joints. He does not come with Power Master gimmick built in, but there are going to be two Micromasters using the Rat-Bat mold and the Rumble mold, I think. And they were going to be repainted into Scar and Nock, who are his Power Master partners. So looking at him, he's not very big. He's not particularly over-engineered.
No.
I'm very, 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 very curious as to what makes him a leader class.
Is it like, yeah, we were I was throwing out some dank jokes about, well, he's a triple changer, so that's the reason.
And my response was, if they did that, I think I'd go to Hasbro main offices and cause a scene.
Yeah, because if that's the case, it means we've got less and less for the whatever they're considering the leader price point. Maybe there is more to this leader that they haven't announced, but I can't imagine what. You know?
Yeah, because it's Double Dealer. Like, he's been in like 3 pieces of fiction. Yeah. And in one of them, he wasn't Double Dealer. He was Clowder.
Well, sorry, did you say that he is coming with his 2 Micromaster friends?
No, they're buying that. I think they're a Generation Select pack.
Okay, I was assuming that was the reason why, because he was coming with those 2. Never mind, yeah, then, I guess. I don't know. I'm
very curious to see how they're going to add an extra $20, or in our side of things, €20 or £20 onto that.
Yeah.
Because remember, all they do is change the symbol in front of the money when they come over here.
They do now, yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious, if nothing else. Next up, we have Commander Class Skylynx, and proving us wrong, we do have confirmation that he will have both the Beast modes.
Yes, so we were wrong on that. We assumed from the pictures that it wasn't the case, but yeah, we were clearly wrong, so that's good at least.
Yep. Also, apparently the shuttle mode was designed with cooperation from NASA.
Cool. Why does that matter? It's a shuttle. Who gives a shit? It's not actually going into space.
It might be.
No, unless you're one of those people that gets toys and sends them up on like weather balloons with a camera, then it's not happening. You know. Did that cost extra money to get someone from NASA to come in and say, that looks like a rocket? Good.
I haven't thought of that, but maybe?
Because if that's the case, mate, come on. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's just one of those things, someone emailed a picture to some random person at NASA and they said it's fine. Because Jesus. I'd be annoyed if they paid for that.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Voyager class. So yeah, this is Voyager class. The Quintesson Judge.
Yes.
Who is a Quintesson who converts into a Micromaster base.
Loosely.
Loosely. I think it's a very interesting idea for a figure. I didn't need him Voyager scale.
No, but did you see there was a video, you may or may not have seen it, Mikey, where it has... I didn't. You did see it? Did you say?
No, I didn't.
Oh, there's a little trigger that's not shown on any of the promotional images on the Quintesson where you push it and the head spins.
Oh, cool.
Is it though?
I mean, I was kind of hoping there would be a rotating gimmick to it.
Yeah, it seems like a strange feature. A lot of the mouths seem to be able to move up and down as well, which I think is arguably more important and more interesting to do.
No, I'm glad about that too.
Yeah, but for the most part, I think they've done the best that they could do, because they've tried to make the Quintesson a toy, which is hard to do because it's not meant to do any kind of transforming. So they've tried to make it do something, even though it's not great. Because I couldn't tell you what he transforms into, but he seems to have a little cage for a Titan Master or something to go in. But what does it transform into, Mikey? Because I don't know. Like, if you said it was a suicide phone booth from Futurama, I'd buy that with the tentacles.
Oh, God.
Yeah?
I mean, you made it better.
I've tried to... Because it doesn't look like anything, so I've had to try and give it a purpose. What are you? I don't know. It's odd.
The other toy that was announced was the Earth. We have our big reveal of our Earthrise Megatron.
Oh, God.
Andy, Earthrise Megatron.
Well, if we include the Netflix version, it's the 4th time we'll have the bones of this Megatron, and
But Andy, he looks so different.
Oh, okay.
People have been going on about masterpiece replacements all day long.
Have they?
Bloody Earthrise, yes.
Have they? Oh no!
Like especially RC, because her chest isn't dropping down. But I will admit that chest in the masterpiece just looks badly designed. But
like, okay, it has been remolded. It is a I don't want to say it's a different toy because there's so much of the transformation's exactly the same. Let's not lie to ourselves. Transformation's exactly the same, but it is a more G1 cartoon-looking Megatron.
I hate the face sculpt.
Yeah, the head is a bit on the weird side, but here's the thing I find slightly insulting because there's such little difference in the color scheme, the color placement included in where all the colors go, and the general aesthetic to this figure. I would genuinely be very pissed off of getting the Siege Megatron one. I'd be even more pissed off if I'd got the Siege Megatron and then got the cell shaded one because it got rid of all the crap before. And now it's like, well, here's the one you probably wanted, which is next to no different. And it's like, does it transform differently? No. It's just, I guess, more accurate to the G1 version that you wanted originally.
Really bad sword gimmick.
Yeah, the sword's terrible. Terrible.
That also says, like, this is the old toy, but we wanted to make it look a bit more tanky.
Yeah.
So here's a thing you stick on the front of the toy.
Yeah. It feels slightly insulting. The only thing I would let it slide on is because I was never a fan of how the head came up and didn't click into anything. I said that when I originally got to have a fiddle with Dave's. So if they fix that, like if you lift up the head for the robot mode and it locks into position, for me it will be a technically better figure in ways. I'd like if I was going to get a Megatron, it would probably be this version. But it's
I'd still get the cell shaded. I'd still get the cell shaded.
I mean, that's fair enough. At least I haven't gummed this one up with dry brushing, so that's something.
I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, what do you think of it, Mikey? Are you happy?
I look forward to next year when we have it again.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I don't like the face sculpt. I don't like the accessories. I don't like the fact it just represents. It's either the exact same toy retooled or it's the exact same skeleton.
Yeah.
And I'm just really frustrated. Like I said, today I realized Flame Toys is my toy line for Transformers because nothing else in the main lines until the Cyberverse Deluxes got announced held any interest in me because it's the same thing over and over and over again. A very occasional small amount of characters that are original and have some different designs, followed by the same Optimus and the same Megatron, and people go like, "Oh, well, it's not the same." It's just like at a glance, I can't tell a fucking difference.
No, I guarantee you, if you put these 4 Megatrons on a shelf and stood like at the other end of your room, or you asked your wife or your significant other who doesn't care about Transformers to come in, stand at the end of the room, and tell you what the differences are between those 4, they'd say they're all the same, and you'd be like, no, they're not, and you'd be like, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I've got Titan Master Megatron still. I'm very happy with him, to be completely honest.
He's not brilliant, but he's different. I
don't need to, I'm not one of those guys. I could buy multiple figures of the same character. I'm not looking for, shelf fillers, or I'm not looking, for replacement characters.
You're not looking for masterpiece versions.
No, this is the thing where I feel like I'm buying the same character 3 times and just looking for the better version.
Yes.
And I'm like... Now, as well, I'm like, why should I be buying Optimus and Megatron now? Because they're going to come out in a year's time, look almost identical, and then people are going to say, but this one's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank God it's not a leader class where they're sticking in a bunch of crap to inflate the price like they did with poor old Prime. At least they're just selling this for what it is.
Yeah, and you could say that Prime was a different transformation. Prime was a different transformation at the very least, so...
No, this is
not much of a sell.
Embarrassing, in my opinion. This is actually embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I look forward to every other podcast saying they love it.
I mean, I don't know. I could see why people like it because it is more animation accurate. It is more the G1 Earth Megatron. But I find it to be
accurate to the show.
Yeah, I do find it to be quite insulting in a lot of ways because, like you said, it feels like you're getting the same thing again and again. In this case, you are getting the same thing again and again, legit.
Yeah,
it's even slightly. I'd say it's even more insulting than the Starscream figure because at least they're using a mold from 10 years ago instead of a mold from 3 months ago or something like that. Last year. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Mikey. Who else we got?
We also got Snapdragon,
who's a leader.
No, he is listed as a Voyager. I'm checking it.
Oh, Mikey, this image I have here says he's a leader at least.
One I'm looking at says he's Voyager. Nothing agrees!
No.
Or is this an official... Oh, is this one of those, like, official images? Let's see. Oh, yeah, it says leader.
Yeah, the image I sent Mikey, for those wondering, is the one I assumed that was used on the slideshow. So maybe that's not accurate to what it is now. Where were you getting yours from?
The TFW story from the images that got released on the official images.
Oh, God.
Where it's listed... They listed it as a deluxe, so... Or as a Voyager. Sorry, that was
okay. So one of these is fucked up. It's either a leader or a Voyager. We don't know yet.
If it's a leader for being a triple changer, please let these, like, I'm not locked into the whole they have to be massive, but please let Double Dealer and Snapdragon be big if you're going to make them leader class.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they are.
I assume this has to be a Voyager. It has to be. I assume it has to just be listed incorrectly in this one image for some reason.
So it is a fairly G1 accurate, although the Dino mode looks a bit more Kaiju-esque than the original. I think just because the head looks a little different.
Yeah, because the head's better. That's it.
But apart from that, it is a G1 toy with joints.
Yeah.
So, Andy, you are a big fan of the horror cons.
Yeah, I do like them.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah?
Wouldn't it be nice to have this guy and then have Ape Face next to him with that paint job?
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't buy Ape Face because I thought it looked kind of cheap, just in the package.
I hear it does.
Do you hear it does, or do you hear it is cheap?
I'm sticking with the grammar I chose.
Okay, I really wanted an answer as well. I hope to fiddle with someone's someday, but yeah, I mean, it does look nice. It looks like Snapdragon should, and it does exactly what we expected it to be. It's the G, like you said, Mikey. It's the G1 toy with joints, which is what this line is all about. So I guess that it's fulfilling its purpose. I guess.
Yeah. On to the deluxes. We have a few. We've got Run Amok.
Oh yeah. Is he a new mold?
He is a retool of Wheeljack.
Okay.
He looks fairly decent, if I'm honest. I mean,
he looks different enough.
Yeah, Runabout is my preferred color scheme, but
yeah, agreed. Yeah. To be fair though, if you get one, you kind of get both of them because they're really nice contrast.
Yeah. Then we have RC. We revealed in her. And the thing about her is that her backpack basically... She's a shell former like every RC has to be. But unless it's an original Taken design. And in order to do that, her backpack comes off and she can surf on her roof.
Yeah, I heard some people complain about the fact that you can take off the backpack. I think it's a good thing just because it...
Yeah.
I mean, there are pictures on the display with it on her back, and it really... adds an extra
looks
shell.
Terrible.
Yeah, it really looks bad. So the fact that you can take that off and like throw it in a parts box, I think is a boon. Did you see it in surfboard mode?
Yes.
It looked a little bit half-assed, which I mean it is.
What? It looked like a robot was standing on a car.
Yeah, that's a problem. I would have liked it to have done a few more things to make it look, I don't know, like a functional board, like a few jets on the back of it or something. Not a lot, just like 2 little flip-out jets would have been enough for me, but, never mind. She's got some big old feet to stand up, though, which she clearly needs.
For relatively. No ankle tilt. She is inferior to the Cyberverse figure. What do you think of the overall design? Because I have to admit, I sort of looked at this and said, this looks decent. I prefer the Generations one.
I don't know.
I think she's got a better face sculpt.
Yeah. The Hasbro's had some of, at least looking at the Takara one, they've had some issues getting the head sculpt right. But I don't think it looks like a bad RC. It looks solid.
No, it does. It looks decent.
I do have one issue, which as soon as I saw the prototype images of before Toy Fair, I was mildly concerned with because I remember the Generation figure. What did the Generation figure do, Mikey? With its hands and weapons, which was pretty bad. Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember how, because I had Nightbird.
Same.
How did she try? Because the legs just sort of became the side of the car.
I'm just talking about the hands. I'm not talking about how it transforms or anything like that.
I don't remember.
They gave her weapons. It happened with...
Oh, yes! The weird square-pegged hands that couldn't really hold her own weapons.
Yeah, she had curved hands for some reason, and yet her weapons were square or rectangular. And they've done it again. They've given her weapons with square rectangular handles, and yet hands that can only hold, or that's primarily designed for circular things. They did it with the animated figure as well for RC, which is known to break. Like, there have been multiple people who've had that RC's hands snap because they've tried putting the swords in and they break. They did it with the Generations figure, and they're doing it with this one. What I don't understand why they keep doing it.
Cyberverse has a round peg.
Yeah, exactly. We just mentioned that the stock for it, the actual handle's too small, and it should have been a little bit longer.
It's not square. If it would have been square, it would have been longer.
Fucking hell, that would be awful if that was the case. But it is. I don't know why they keep doing it, because it can't be a better grip. It can't be, because there's less material in there for it to hold. And it's
because they want the hands to look delicate and or feminine.
But then, why not just make the guns hold round? The handle for it round.
Square is more feminine.
It's
more feminine?
It's a really weird choice, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. But it is a minor issue. Definitely a minor issue.
Yeah. Next up we have Fast Track, who is a modulator, I believe.
That
Fast Track
makes sense.
and Airwave.
Yes.
They come apart. Fast Track looks like Fast Track. It's nice. Again, it's kind of like with Brunt. It's just nice to have the companion piece.
Yeah. Do you assume if we get a Black Zarak, they'll do the gold version, the Commander one, as a select?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I saw people talk about that online, so it's like, yeah.
I don't trust them to do Black Zarak anymore.
No, neither do I.
We also have Smokescreen.
Oh, we didn't talk about Airwave.
Oh, right. What do you think of Airwave?
I like the fact that he's based off of, I think it was called Airwave back in Micromaster time. He's the air base thing, and he looks fine. I like how squat he is, and he's got a little flat boy head. Excuse me, I've just not been a very big fan of the module figures so far. Granted, these bases might be a little bit better, but so far from like Brunt and
I'm quite fond of Brunt.
I didn't like Brunt. I didn't like how it came together. It felt like there were too many parts that didn't connect, especially in his tank mode, which really frustrated me. So maybe this one will be better. It's got a good color scheme at least, so yeah, it looks nice.
Smokescreen is Smokescreen.
It's the same thing with Megatron. They've done it again. They just did the same toy from the Cyberverse line. Not Cyberverse line, sorry, the War for Cybertron line, and they've just turned it into an Earth car. It's the same. The only difference that people have pointed out is he's got like a thigh filler, and that's it.
Yep.
It's the same fucking toy. So it's going to be done with Prowl. It's going to be done with Smokescreen, Prowl, and Blue Streak, if they do a Blue Streak. And then maybe they'll do it again with another Barricade. So that'll be 4... They'll have used the basic mold 4 times for the War for Cybertron design, if they have. And they might use it another 4 times for the Earth mode versions. That's really fucking bad. That's gross, at least to me.
Yeah, gross is a good word for it.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of this Earthrise line. It feels really lackluster in many ways for me.
Andy,
especially
we haven't even hit lackluster yet.
No, that's true. This is true.
There is something that deserves an award for lackluster.
Are you going to talk about that next, or is this?
I am.
Okay.
The Alicon toy.
Okay, I'm surprised. I didn't think you'd meant that.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
The robot mode's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the fact it has 2 arms hanging off its arms.
Yeah.
The alt mode. That is, to me, quite insulting.
I think I'm a bit more forgiving of it because they're trying to do the animation model, and I mean that toy shouldn't exist. There are things that it's trying to do which it's finding clearly very difficult.
But it shouldn't. because I've seen them done in a Legends toy by third party, which is just fold the arms under him. It's not perfect, but it will do. Dinobot was doing that in 1996.
Yeah. There is. I will 100% agree. There's a lot of. I hate to say it, but it feels like there's a lot of laziness behind a lot of it.
But in a figure line where you are paying for transformation.
Yeah.
His transformation is rotate the legs around and flip up the chest.
Seemingly.
And then pretend. Yeah, his arms don't transform at all.
No.
You just turn them around and bend the elbow, so the legs don't do anything. He doesn't even have a tail, does he?
No, he does. He does have a tail.
He does?
Yeah.
Okay, he has a tail.
Yeah, but I think that's always out because it was always out on the robot mode as well.
Like, the robot mode works fairly well, but it's not that hard to do.
I don't even think that you took away the pink hands in the alligator mode, which is strange that they don't even fold in or do anything like that.
I'm sure a lot of people are really defending. Like I saw Chris saying oh, I love the head. And
which head? Like the robot head or the crocodile head?
The croc head.
Okay.
And if everything else is a compromise and transformation for that, I kind of enjoy that, even though it's a bad transformation. I'm just no, this isn't a transformation. This is going to be on Irish shelves for €20. This is going to be on British shelves for £20.
Yeah.
That's nearly $30.
Yeah.
Nearly 30. Please, when people comment on this, really get that through your head that in some countries this will be as expensive as a Voyager figure.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, those people aren't ever going to have to be concerned with that because they're not. That's not a worry for them. It's not an issue for them.
No,
it's a worry for people like us, but it's not something that they ever have to consider, and they shouldn't have to. To be fair,
I know they should because it's fucking insulting in this case. I'll let it off in any other time, but this is just
no, it's insulting for us. I mean, whether they find it insulting or not,
terrible.
That it's up to them. But I would disagree with you. I don't think they have to think about it being more expensive for us because, we're a different market, and we're not. They're not the ones setting the prices for us. It's Hasbro that's doing that. So
yeah. But this is fucking atrocious.
It is very disappointing. The robot mode does look good though.
Robot mode, take off the extra arms and I'm happy enough.
Yeah, the animal mode almost feels like an afterthought in many ways.
Because it is.
Yeah, it really seems to be. Which is a shame.
Yes, very much so. Then Micromasters class, we have the Astro and Racetrack squads, which are 2 figures each.
Yeah.
They look like Micromasters.
They do.
We've got the Battlemaster Double Crosser and Slitherfang.
You what?
Slitherfang is a ramp.
Oh yeah, it's based off of the old Headmaster Snake design, which oh god, what was that third party company called that used to do Headmasters?
God. I don't remember.
Do you remember they made
I
the
used to
snake
have
thing?
them. I had them.
Yeah, they gave them away at one point because they had so many of them.
Yeah, and then there's Generation Selects, Rumble, Wing Thing, Scar, and Knock, who are repaints of the Rumble and Ratbat mode.
They're all right. I don't think the molds are very good, but it's nice that they're doing them, I suppose.
Yeah. The last bit of news for this is that the Netflix series is getting a series of tie-in figures, which you may be about to say they had one. I would
Did
say,
they,
yes,
Mikey?
Yes, but they're releasing late.
Yeah.
So, these are a series of Voyager and Deluxe figures with overall better bad paint jobs?
I guess.
Megatron is mostly clean, bar his street tats.
He's a lot, they seem to have coloured him in, proper gunmetal silver for the toy. So, he isn't, a super dark silver. Which I guess is nice.
But we've got Decepticon Mirage.
Yeah, he's decent colour scheme, I'd say.
Yeah. Chromia, Sideswipe, Scrapface, who is a blue reflector.
Scrapface. Sounds like an insult.
Hound, who I can't tell any difference with.
No. I'm sure there's, Midas Scuff or something.
Yeah. Megatron with Lionizer and Pinpointer, and Hotlink with Fire Twins. And I was convinced until I saw the name that it was Skywarp.
It's not.
You sure?
Oh, no, that I was asking you. It's not, as in, it's not Skywarp?
It's Hotlink.
Okay.
Hotlink.
Okay, I'm guessing, is this just the name for, the generic Seeker, are we assuming?
I'm assuming so. I think Hot Link's an existing name, though.
I'll take your word for it.
And the mysterious box of leader, who I'm just putting money down there, it's probably Ultra Magnus.
Why would you say that, Mikey?
It's probably Ultra Magnus, maybe with a big, terrible cloak.
Would you say he might have been in the trailer, Mikey? Is that what you're suggesting?
I mean, he may have been on the trailer. I think he's also on the box.
Is he actually on the box? Oh no.
He's punching through the box. Now it could be something huge, and not him at all. Mm-hmm. But I'm just gonna say it's probably Ultra Magnus.
Okay. And is this the box that says spoilers inside?
Yes.
That's
and
a really that's a.
You may notice the big Ultra Magnus on the side.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you have a box that says spoilers inside? That's really really lame. At least I think so.
Yeah, it's fairly lame.
Scrapface looks okay.
Yeah. What do you think of these?
It feels like a quick product tie-in more so than anything else. Like Scrapface and I guess the Mirage. I kind of like the Chromia. Just is a dirty Chromia. Which, like you say, is arguably a better looking version of her. At least paint like dirty up wise. I still don't think the mold's very good, but it's a bit more interesting. Sideswipe is, I think, more of a mixed bag. Because in his robot mode, he looks dirty as fuck. Like his chest is really heavily dirtied. But then one of his shoulders is clean, and like in his vehicle mode, the entire back half of the car mode, apart from a very small amount around the wheels, is again clean. So it's almost like they went, okay, we've got half a budget, we'll make sure we color the robot mode so it's correctly done. But obviously that doesn't transfer over into the vehicle mode as well. So there's this literally where his legs kind of come apart from the car. It feels like that's where the line is, and that's where, okay, no more paint here. The redo of the Starscream into that purple, the placement on it's quite nice. It makes it feel a little bit more interesting than a generic kind of Seeker, because there's a bit more color to it, just because of, I guess, the battle damage kind of breaking up the purple. And Hound, he's sure Hound, isn't he? He's ooh, that little boy. He's he's there rubbing Spike, and that's it. And Megatron, sure. Megatron is just the Megatron toy again, so just with a dark silver paint job, and a dog, so
and a dog.
Yeah.
There was also an announcement that the Switch game called Doom of Cybertron coming.
What's it about?
Cybertron.
Is it doomed?
It's doomed.
Oh man!
Looks
man!
Like simple...
did they call it Doom of Cybertron because Fall of Cybertron was already taken?
That's the next trilogy.
The Doom of Cybertron.
The Doom of Cybertron.
Oh no!
But it's not really wrecking my head, or I'm not like it doesn't look particularly interesting, but we'll see. Before we go on, because that's the end of Toy Fair, really, was there anything at Toy Fair apart from Transformers that attracted your attention?
Well, technically, I think it's still going on until Monday, isn't it? I think they're still like. I think Jai mentioned to me that Mattel hasn't done their kind of showing, and they won't be doing any of their stuff until Monday. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a Mattel boy, so I wouldn't know that for sure. I did see that Storm Collectibles was doing, or are doing, Axel from Streets of Rage 4, the new one coming out. They're also doing the not Conan from Golden Axe, and they're doing the two skeletons along with him. So I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. It's not to the point where obviously I want to buy them, but I'm like, oh, the idea is kind of interesting. And then everything else I've already kind of seen. I looked at the Lego stuff because I'm kind of in a Lego mood at the moment, and there was nothing new announced. All of this stuff has already been talked about. So, what about you, Mikey? Was there anything that tickled your proverbial pickle?
Not a lot. I went through a few times, and I didn't find a huge amount that looked particularly intriguing.
Not a lot of new stuff.
No. Two things was the Chronicle Collectibles high-end Jurassic Park figures.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, didn't I send you a picture of one of the derpy-looking raptors because it had an amusing face?
Yeah, it's very similar to the Amber collection being done by Mattel. Is like here's some articulated versions with a lot of compromises.
Right.
These are the $200-$300 versions that are as accurate as they can get them.
Right.
But then they still have kind of problems like they're doing Own, Malcolm, and Grant, and they're doing the JP1 Raptor, and they're doing Blue. And Blue, like in the Amber collection, the Raptor they're using is a repaint of Blue. So the Raptors in Jurassic World have a lot of unique qualities to their design, and one of the Blues is that she's got a lot of little bumps on her neck.
Okay.
So in the original, when they're doing the original Raptor, it's in brown color, but then it's like all these little bumps, and if you know to look for them, they're really distracting. Here it's the other way around. It looks like they've done the original Raptor mold and repainted it into Blue's color, but not remolded it at all.
Okay.
So that's if I'm paying that kind of money, for an articulated Raptor figure, I would like it to be as accurate as possible. But the dolls, the 1/12 scale dolls, look fairly decent. I hope Malcolm can do the lying down pose.
I'd be stupid if he can't.
Because his shirt does look like it opens.
Oh yeah.
And maybe it comes with some sort of oil you can lube in him.
I think oil has to be provided by yourself.
That man glistened, Andy.
Oh, he did.
And the only other thing in there I'd say was any interest to me was the Square Enix Pixel Final Fantasy VII figures, which are they're little micro toys.
I've seen them because they're based on the original game, aren't they? They're super cute.
Yeah. I love them. They used to be, back in 2013, apparently, there was this third-party guy doing some, but then, Square went after him.
They went to we can do that.
Hard.
Yeah, we can do that instead.
And now they're, the ones they've shown are Barrett, Red, Tifa, Cloud, and Reno, I want to say.
Yeah, it's weird that they've done just Reno. They haven't finished off the main crew. It's just here's the guys you probably like the most, apart from Vincent, and here's Reno as well.
Don't tell me there aren't people who are sitting there going Vincent.
I'm telling you, there are people that there's probably nobody going, oh man, it's a shame they haven't done a Yuffie.
I love Yuffie.
No one likes Yuffie.
Yes, she's fantastic.
No.
She's awful, but she's fantastic.
Yeah, want awful. She's definitely
I want my goddamn tea. Where's my goddamn tea?
What is it about you and terrible people in Japanese things like her and Aqua?
Aqua's amazing. Don't you knock
What
Aqua.
is it with you and these awful women characters, Mikey? Holy shit.
I have low standards. But there's no Sid in there. But you could do a huge line of little figures for this.
Totally.
Of the amount of significant or minor named characters. I wanted him to do Johnny. Poor old Johnny.
What about Palmer?
Oh, Palmer would be great.
Yeah. With little
but Johnny,
boy.
I want them to do, because Johnny was this random ass character from Sector 7 who just kept on popping up wherever you went.
Oh yeah.
Until you hit Costa del Sol and he got married.
That's right. He had a good end, didn't he, really?
Yeah, he was the only person from Sector 7 apart from the team who did.
Wait, yeah, because he didn't die, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Which is relevant now, a new game's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh man! Final Fantasy VII Remake Johnny.
Johnny, he coming.
I hadn't thought of that.
Here come Johnny.
Oh, because Johnny's outside the Honeybee Inn, trying to build up the courage to go inside. I remember that.
That's right, yeah.
Oh man, Johnny. But yeah, I'd really like to see Sephiroth, Aerith, the rest. They're all obviously coming, but
yeah.
But you might have a few side characters.
Yeah.
Shira would be nice.
Oh yeah,
because if you got Sid, you gotta have someone for him to yell at.
It'd be nice if they had the pixelated, some of the pixelated bosses as well. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be really, really cool.
Not that there are many. Not that there are many.
No.
If they wanted to do all of them, they could pixelate them. But I can think of Missing Number. I think had a pixel thing.
And Materia Keeper.
Yeah, the big robot in Midgard. Yeah. When you go back to
Prod
it.
Clod.
That's
Prod
him.
Clod.
Yeah. Oh, you could do Hojo. That'd be cool.
Hojo.
Yeah.
Hojo
Bobo.
would be cool. Hojo. Hojo and his random clique of bikini girls.
Yeah, but then he was like, no, I'll turn myself into a monster. Hojo, you were on a beach with babes. What are you doing, bro?
Hojo, you're on the sun beach. Why were you wearing a lab coat?
Because he was a scientist. That's why. Science above comfort.
Yeah.
Was that it then from Toy Fair that interested you? Well, so far, at least.
Yeah, so far. I mean, there's other figures that look fine, but the DC stuff didn't look very interesting.
Yeah.
And so on and so on. Like, it's very weird to me. They're doing, hey, remember Batman the Animated Series? We're doing figures of other characters in that style and saying the adventure continued on. Like, Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yeah.
And that horrible, horrible Joker Batman that won't fuck off.
Is that the bondage one with the spikes around his head?
I won't respond to that.
Okay.
She didn't like that.
No, sir. All right. No, I think they're doing that to just keep the line going, but it seems like a weird choice to keep the line going when you still have Justice League Unlimited, which I don't think they've really lent hard into yet.
Yeah, or like or even just mainline the main Justice League.
Yeah.
And there's like loads of Superman and Batman characters they haven't touched on.
It's a weird choice. It's almost like they don't believe in anything but Batman. Not that DC would ever be like that.
What's their next DC movie? Or DC animated movie, rather?
I
bet it's Batman.
Well, we know that they're doing a Batman that's coming out.
Yeah.
Did you see the costume for that? That looked terrible.
No, I hadn't.
Oh, it looks bad.
I'm not looking at DC news or Marvel news, really. At the moment.
Wise.
But yeah, that's it for Toy Fair.
Yeah, that's it for Toy Fair. So I suppose we can get into the controversial topic of the week.
Controversy.
Because as we predicted, we said this when we saw when we talked about the concept artwork for it all those months back, and we talked about it again when we got more images of Nicey. That shit was going to kick off again when we saw prototypes of the Flame Toys Furry model kit, and once again, unsurprisingly, shit kicked off. More so than it has before, admittedly.
Yep, and to the point where a picture was pulled off of Flame Toys Twitter, and half the people are now convinced the toy is cancelled, and half are convinced it's not.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was cancelled.
I would be surprised, but I would also be surprised if you saw Flame Toys advertising it a lot.
Yeah, at least if they advertise it, it won't be primarily through Twitter, I would presume. I mean, they had a booth at the Toy Fair, and if they did have the prototype, I think it was probably... I don't know if it was wise for them not to put it there, but it's in the wake of what happened this week, it was probably just... it might have made them wary to put it on the shelf or in a cabinet. Not that I think many people would have cared that much who were at Toy Fair, to be honest, but... Yeah, so Mikey, what happened this week with the reveal of the Windblade model kit prototype? Should we talk about our thoughts on it first, or should we talk about the controversy?
Do that, very, very quickly cover the other two figures that got revealed with her.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot about
that. Which was, we got the prototypes for Optimus Primal, who is a very, very stylized, gigantic-handed man.
Yes, he's got lots of hands. It's actually a pretty decent design that could work if you wanted to redo Beast Wars.
Yeah, it also... Am I crazy, or are those fingers articulated?
You are crazy, but it does look like they have at least a knuckle joint in them.
That would be really cool, because I don't think they've done this before.
I don't.
But again, his hands are the size of plates.
From the looks of things, it looks like they've only got a joint in the knuckle. It doesn't look like the hands will be able to like flex out.
Yeah,
but at least they could like curl up.
Yeah, but it's a really nice design. I think it's going to look really good painted up. And the one that people were really positive of, which was the Mord Meets the Eye Rodimus.
I wonder why they were super positive on this.
Don't know. Do you know what? I guarantee you he's coming out in purple.
Purple first. Oh man, that would be bad.
Oh, do it. I think this looks good. I like the Rodimus
totally.
Design.
Yeah.
And Rodimus was a great character until last light, as many characters were.
No, yeah, I would agree with that.
Not letting that elephant go.
No, it's a really solid looking figure. It does. I mean, it looks like how it should, and I would imagine Nick will have to have one, and I know Rob will have to have one as well. Our friend Rob.
And Alex will have one because he never got to redesign him.
Oh man, there's
staring at him and it was like, you could have been anything.
There's a man in Canada like crunching metal with his hands when he hears you say stuff like that. And I don't mean like cans. I just mean
like metal. Tables.
Yeah, metal tables.
Yeah, I'm not wrong. We have an interview out there where it's like, who would you like to redesign the most? All of them.
Yeah,
most of them are Nick. He's probably the one who's going to buy the Decepticon Megatron because like now there are 2 Alex Milne figures, and runs off. He bought up all the deluxe Generations Trailbreakers. No, he can't because that was Nick 2, I believe.
Okay.
Who from the Generations line was based off of an Alex design? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna get myself murdered for this, haven't I?
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway,
Yes.
Windblade, Andy. Here's the weird thing. She doesn't look like Windblade overall. She looks like she's taking a lot of the design aesthetics from Battle Angel Alita.
I'm assuming you mean I assume you mean more of the anime aesthetic rather than the actual live action kind of slightly animated version.
The manga anime thing. Just part of it is the prototype plastic, but the way the lines are used to give her that like very lithe humanoid robot vibe, it just very reminds me of the android, the cyborg aesthetic from that show.
I don't know if I'd go specifically with Battle Angel Alita, but I would definitely lean to maybe that era of anime. Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely the era.
Definitely the era, which is like 80s ish.
Yeah, she's got a mid 80s grunge cyberpunk kind of vibe.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. She still has the aesthetics to make her Windblade, though. I will say that.
She has kind of the key stuff. She's got the head.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the digibashes that like a lot of this gets washed out in black.
Yeah.
Which like the digibashes, they're like the only real disappointment. And she has molded breasts and she has molded ass.
Yep.
The breasts cause less controversy than the ass, but and also the posing of the ass. But one thing I'm not crazy about, and you made a very good point about this today. I really do wish she came with the wings.
I think that would be nice as an option. But like I sent to you because I did some research yesterday because it really annoyed me because I knew what I was trying to emphasize last time because I mentioned that the wings have been designed kind of in a ribbon effect, but I couldn't remember what the style was called, so I checked and it's called an obi, OBI, which you can find on Wikipedia. For those not aware, that is apparently, again according to Wikipedia, the sash that you would wear with a kimono or another a robe style outfit, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but it was usually used and tied in the back in either a big ribbon, and for a man it would be done with a big rope. So if you know Naruto, if you remember Orochimaru, if you remember he had a big old pink or purple rope, that was an obi as well, and you'd put your katanas and slide it through the obi. So that's what they're going for here. So they're really super heavily leaning into her Japanese aesthetic. Her I guess her cultural roots, I guess, in a lot of ways, since she is a very kimono-esque transformer. It kind of makes sense in a lot of ways.
There is a Legends comic where she's just literally wandering around in a kimono.
Yeah, that's true. But I do agree with you that in either I think they should have made this obi design bigger, just to again pump up the silhouette, or just give her the wings as well, because it is a shame to not have that silhouette, which is, her with the wings out the back of her. It's kind of almost taking away a little bit from her general character design, in a sense.
Yeah. Also really hope she comes with that stand.
Oh, Mikey.
She kind of needs it.
I don't know if she needs it. She obviously needs it for the other pose, for the running, looking over the back of her shoulder. She obviously needs it for that, but I think she'd be all right. That's probably why the wings are small as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely in that.
Yeah,
she's got very big feet for what she is.
Well, she has big feet, but I don't think she will have a lot of surface area to them.
No,
because they're a high. Yeah, they're a high heel design, so it looks like I wouldn't say they're even that long, but they are quite a narrow shape to the feet. So you might have some difficulty posing her potentially. I don't know.
I like the idea that those are blades though in the back. Those look very sharp.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not the best Flame Toys design, and I don't think she's the best animated up robot design either, but I think she's solid. I think she's decent.
No.
And I think she'll look quite nice colored up. And I will, once I see how much she's going for, if she's not, crazy price off the bat, I will be getting her, because, like I said, Flame Toys is now my only regular Transformers toy line, and I'm definitely buying the other two. I think they look fantastic. But, she, I think she's a figure. I want to see if she's going to come with any extra accessories.
Yes.
And I want to see what she looks like painted up. Because I will say, I don't think the prototype colors just with the amount of like panel lines and everything else she's got, do her any favors.
Well, I think the digibashes made it look really nice, but again, they are they're digibashes, so it's not a fair representation. I agree with you on her with the accessories, because again, I think because she wasn't shown with her sword, and that's a classic bit of Windblade. I think it would be annoying if she didn't have her sword. It would be like Megatron not having his fusion cannon, Optimus Prime not having his ion blaster kind of thing. It's like that's her thing. That's her sword. Like
there's a reason why Flame Toys did an Autobot Megatron and still included a fusion cannon.
Yes, exactly. Though Jai, I was having a chat with Jai about this yesterday, and he made an interesting point. If they didn't want to lean into her standard design, it would be nice if they lent even more heavily into the Japanese aesthetic, which they're clearly kind of going for, and gave her a shamisen. And then had the top of it like pull out like a knife, like the bad guy chick from Shinkenger. I think that'd be all right.
Oh God!
Right?
Oh God!
Because that'd be quite nice.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Again, leaning heavily into the Japanese aesthetic with the shamisen, and then also making her a fucking like assassin.
Yeah, because she'd be playing your music and then stabbing you.
Exactly. I think that'd be nice. I don't think it would happen, but it would be really nice.
I feel like you're going to have to put a picture of the Shinkenger villain in the image, because a lot of people are not going to get that reference at all.
No, that's true. But a shamisen,
basically, it's a traditional Japanese like lute or mandolin.
Yes.
Something like that.
And not usually, but sometimes they'd hollow out the top of it where the string would be, and you'd pull out the top, and that bit would have a knife attached. Some sort of knife.
Female ninja assassins. Kunoichis?
Yeah, Kunoichis, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Jai came up with that, and I thought that was a fantastic idea to go with this RC, with this Windblade design. I thought it would work really well. This
RC Windblade. Ho ho!
But yeah, I was pretty happy with how it looks. It looks interesting. I wonder if she'll come. Like, I don't think she will. It would again be nice if she came with another face, but I don't think that's the kind of model kits that these guys are doing.
Usually they don't.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. It's something I wish they would do.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. Like, she looks either like her build will be a lot of very big solid parts, or she's going to have a lot of small parts, and I'm very curious as to which way they're going to go.
It might be the thing of
her way her. Go ahead. I was thinking, like, the way her panel lines break down, it's difficult to see where one part starts and the other part ends.
Yeah, see, I was imagining that she'd have almost like a skeleton that you then have put these armor plates over the top with, so then you'd still have the underneath detail through the holes in the armor plates, which you're kind of slotting over the top of it. Maybe that's the idea behind it. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when it eventually comes out. I think I remember you said one of the issues you had with it was with how there is a big gap in the butt.
Yeah. It's not necessarily the gap in the butt, but the gap in the side of the thigh.
That's the bit I mean, yes.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that look. It looks kind of like someone's just sort of removed the chunk of her.
Yeah, I think that is to facilitate the articulation more so than anything else.
No, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it won't be as obvious again once it's all painted. That'll be black, so it'll absorb a lot of the eye.
Yeah. But yeah, I really do hope they do something with the face, just because in the concept art she had a slight smiling face.
Yeah, she's got just plain.
Yeah, this is kind of like, hello.
Yeah.
You caught me on the way to the shops.
Yeah, I'm on the bus, leave me alone. That's the face I make when I'm on the bus as well. I'm like, ugh. No thanks.
Catching the Astro train down to town.
Exactly.
She's got her phone out, she's just like, don't talk to me.
Exactly. And to be honest, I think if the second image, the butt image, wasn't there, I don't think the reaction online would have been as strong as it was.
No. I think you would still have had the reaction.
Yes, certainly.
But I think the butt is what set it off. Now, let's tell you what the reaction was.
It was not good.
It was not good, and a lot of people, men and women, reacted very strongly against this. Using very strong language, using very strong comparisons. they basically, I don't want to say started hounding Flame Toys, but there was a lot of abuse hurled at them. There was a fair bit of abuse, and the picture was eventually, their pictures for this figure were eventually taken off the Twitter, which were followed by a lot of very loud proclamations of victory. Yeah. It didn't help that Mayor Grid got involved.
No, I wanted to throw this out as well, because she mentioned that she was disappointed that this ruined the character she created. Something to that effect, wasn't it?
Yes, and as someone who loves the character she created,
yeah,
absolutely. I think Windblade is one of the strongest characters and character concepts to come out of Transformers in a good light. She was what Drift was kind of supposed to be when he was originally conceived. This doesn't even come close to ruining the character.
No, if it did, you made a very poor character. If one figure can ruin your character that people like, then you didn't leave any kind of impression, and that's not the case.
It reminds me of something that Nick said. We interviewed him there a few years back, and he was saying he did Spotlight Cup, and he had this feeling of ownership of the character.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until All Hail Megatron happened that he realized that no, he didn't.
That's another thing,
You can create the concepts around the characters, but you have you can't control what someone's going to come in when you're not around. And to me, this is an action figure, it's sexualized. It is what it is. A sexualized figure of a Transformers character does not ruin a character. It's not even the first official sexualized figure of a Transformers character. And it's certainly not the most sexualized figure of a Transformers character. Or like artwork of Transformers characters, which I'll talk about in a second. It's definitely not the most sexualized picture of RC out there.
Oh no.
Or Windblade, rather.
Or Strong Arm.
Strong Arm. Or by the way, that third party Strong Arm turned out to be like a concept piece someone did.
Oh, so it's not a third party company doing it?
No. Also slightly humanized proportions on that, but that looked decent. But I didn't like the face.
No, it's weird.
No. But yeah, so this blew up basically, and it's still going right this second. I have been scrolling through Twitter right now is basically trying to avoid either one side screaming about how this is the worst toy that was ever made, or the other side screaming that the people who hate this toy are the worst people who were ever born, or vice versa. It got very, very personal.
Yes.
Now I have some thoughts on this, but Andy, before I go into that, what's your take on the scenario?
Not surprising. Not surprising at all. This stuff is happening across Twitter in different medias, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or comics in general. Any fandom seemingly is having these kind of arguments. Not this specific argument, but arguments like these, more like reactions like these, where there's a strong one side, there's strong another side, and then the two sides are very unpleasant to each other, shall we say. And we're not measuring who's the worst, because no one's good here, but we're not saying, because it doesn't really matter. One side is probably doing bad things, the other side is also doing bad things. What percentage? Who knows? Yeah. I don't want to measure. We can just say they're doing bad shit. That's it. So I wish I could say I'm surprised, but this, like I say, this is happening and has been happening for a good 3-4 years at this point, so I'm kind of used to it in a lot of ways. Yeah,
there was something about, I found this unpleasant when it kicked off with Nicey. I wasn't surprised, and also I don't think we were going to go into why we were okay with this, because we did a whole section on Nicey why we were okay with this.
Yeah, go back and listen to it if you like.
Yeah, and we don't feel that makes us misogynistic assholes either.
No,
anyone asks. But there was a real Nicey kicked off and people felt hurt and whatever, and then the fascinating thing for me was that once we got outside the limited sphere of Transformers, huge amount of positivity about the figure, loads of primarily women by the end of it, after our retweet got round,
at least from what you saw,
we're we had 1,000 retweets. I'd say at least 50%, maybe more, women were like, holy crap, I want this.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it hit the hentai sphere.
Oh,
and a lot of the women who were liking this were like, fuck yeah, I want this because I draw boobies. But
fair enough.
Hey, women are drawing this just in. Women draw porn.
Yeah, apparently I hear that they draw some of the better porn.
Yes,
which is interesting.
From what I am told, they draw the high quality porn.
Yeah, which I suppose makes sense because they know female bodies better than a dude does.
Yeah,
so makes sense.
Yeah. I think I've seen a couple of what was her name? She did a Transformers book. She did the end of Till All Are One. She was drawing some nudity there a while ago because I used to follow her on Twitter, and it just she just wrote a thing drawing some titties today.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, and we've explained why we're not bothered by sexualizing Transformers specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But what struck me really this time was how nasty it got.
Yeah, the problem is, I think the problem is it got outside of the Transformers area and got to the shitlords on YouTube, who aren't, who are not there for any kind of other reason apart from to benefit.
Shitlord.
Yeah, they're there to benefit from controversy and to perpetuate it. And oddly enough, I think I'm not going to mention obviously who the shitlord was in question, but they only had to do a few things to their video to make it not as egregious, and that was simply take out the images of the users that they were quoting, and also take out the names of the users they were quoting, because then you could easily say, you have to go and look through tweets to find the tweets that he was that they were mentioning. If that was the case, take out the image of the person you're talking about and take out their name, then they're within their right to talk about it. But they knew what they were doing, and they knew that
they were creating targets.
Yeah, they could say for all that they like that they don't go and harass these people, but they know their audience. They do, and they know that their audience is going to harass people, and that's not cool.
Yeah, at least one person that I know of, and at least one was forced to quit Twitter over this.
Yeah.
For I believe she was against it.
Oh, she was very much against it.
Yeah, and she just got torn to shreds.
Yeah.
But I saw, this is what really kind of made me uncomfortable. People who were against it then did the exact same thing to people who were for it. And I saw some people's reaction to her getting kicked off was to start attacking people who had supported the figure.
Yeah. Not even people who attacked her in question.
No, just in someone general. Who said, oh, well, I don't mind a toy. And using pretty heinous language.
Yeah.
And there were some people, I thought, on both sides who were okay, listen, I'm not comfortable with this. I am comfortable with this. Here's why. Let's be reasonable about this.
Yeah.
They were very much the minority.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with social media in a lot of ways.
The problem for me is that the thing about this, the real kicker about this, there was a very important, very real conversation to be had about this. And with the rare fact that flame toys are out there and are pretty communicative, it was a rare opportunity to have a real conversation with a producer and get, why did you make this? What's your approach? Did you, does it concern you that some people are whatever? Does the fact this is aimed at a different culture factor into things? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a conversation that needed to be had about sexualizing women in fiction.
Yeah.
What level are we comfortable with? What level are we uncomfortable with? Where's the line? For how much does the individuals taking it come in? And that conversation wasn't had. What happened was that conversation was thrown out the window. And basically you did the one thing, in my opinion, that removed all legitimacy from this discussion. You removed discussion. You just became a bunch of idiots screaming at each other on the internet.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a lot of cruelty going around for this on every side of the argument. None of you ended up looking good from this, guys.
No.
Whether you thought that objectification is the worst thing in the world, or you're like, I have all the cheesecake, can I have more? You all looked shit by the end of this. Nicey got off easy in comparison. Really, she really did, and I thought a lot of people ended up looking bad about that. But for me, it made me think of have you ever read, Richard Dawkins?
I've heard the name.
He's an evolutionary scientist, and for a while there, he was kind of like the king of atheists. I dislike him intensely.
Okay.
And I am supposedly his target audience.
Okay.
But he wrote a book called The God Delusion, and the first chapter of it is a bunch of self-aggrandizing attacks on anyone who isn't as smart as he is, which is anyone who believes in God.
Okay.
And at the time, you had this, I called it an atheistic subculture. It is the atheist shitlords. They, like, I think one of them called Thunderfoot. He was quite well known. And he rose up. And
him. Yeah.
Yeah, and they all basically structured their thing about attacking Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Like, attacking Christians.
Yeah.
Attacking their intellect, attacking their family values, and then Christians attacking them, and Muslims attacking them, and then Muslims and Christians attacking each other, and blah, 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 blah. You see where this is going.
Yeah.
And the takeaway from that for me was, when I can't tell the difference between your language and you're proclaiming moral correctness, but you're as horrible as the other side, your argument has no power. Like, there's a reason Gandhi basically kind of took over an entire country by being reasonable. Yeah. It's because he found a system that worked. And there's a reason that usually in countries, violence breaks out when they lose control. I come from Ireland, and before someone says, whoa, you're crossing the line, I come from Ireland. Believe me when I say the history of violence in Ireland is because we lost control, and it only stopped when someone sat down and had a real conversation. And this was something that needed a real conversation, and you had a really good opportunity for it, and none of you took it. And it made me pretty uncomfortable, and it's still making me uncomfortable.
Oh, see, I'm used to it. You just got to be like that chick from Goblin saying, Mikey, you just go. You get used to it.
Oh, God.
Unfortunately,
God.
that's social media and that's Twitter.
Yeah, there's something you could have a conversation about.
Yeah.
but like you say that, like when Naruto, what happened with Shield Hero?
Yep.
Naofumi, not Naruto, Naofumi. You know, a lot of people just sort of flipped out about that first episode and never looked at the context of the episode.
Yeah.
They just heard about it and flipped out.
Yep.
Like, and it's not that I don't expect the internet to do this. It's just I'm rarely in the middle of it like I was with this.
That's
like,
the difference. I see this a lot more than you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen this a lot more than you have, I think, which I'm slightly jealous of. I've seen a lot more of this stuff flip out. Like I say, in anime, because that's the big target at the moment.
Because I don't really move in anime like social circles or Twitter circles.
Yeah.
Because to be blunt, I never really liked talking to people online about anime unless I was speaking to them, because it was really hard to tell if you were talking to a horny teenager or not. And then they'd start telling you Evangelion was amazing, and you're just like, why are you alive?
We can't be friends anymore.
No, we're enemies now. I'm friends with many people who like Evangelion.
I just don't respect them.
Flaws. No, God, no. Not at all. Then again, I once met someone who said Kill the Kill was atrocious, and I was just like,
oh boy.
Never forget that, TF Nation.
Yeah, Jason.
Why are you alive, Jason?
Dude,
like,
Jesus,
what went wrong?
Mickey.
What went wrong that someone like you were still here? Oh, please. I was talking this morning. It's fine. I can, again, see, dropping my standards. But yeah, the anime, the way anime, the cultural circle went, which is kind of interesting because Japan has basically been completely ignoring the Western reaction to
Thank God.
The Western Twitter reaction to anime. In fact, it's getting kind of extreme. Like, the reaction is, oh yeah, you think that's bad.
Yeah, which I'm glad about, because Japan should not have to be concerned with what the West wants from anime. The reason why people like anime is because it's very Japanese, so let the Japanese just make what they're already doing.
Which is another point in this, like, this is a country where hypersexualized female robots are kind of a thing, and have been since, what, the 70s or 60s?
Something like that, sure, yeah.
Whatever year Mazinger came out. And Jai pointed this out to me, like, the first one of the first robots in Western fiction was Maria in Metropolis, who has basically the same figure as this Windblade. Yeah,
technically, I suppose you're right. Yeah,
and has a very sexualized figure out by one of the toy. When he said it, I said, like, I haven't seen Metropolis in years. I'm going to check the design, and then like a toy came up, and it's just like, oh, someone just wanted Maria to have the biggest boobies.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, like. Yeah, I think it didn't go well. I was also looking for feedback.
Oh yeah, did you get any
from people? I got a little bit, but I didn't get any from people who were against it. I got people who were not like one of them specifically asked not to be named, and the other one said he didn't mind. But if I'm not going to name one guy, I'm not going to name another.
No, that's wise.
Guy or girl. So like the one said he didn't like the Windblade because it wasn't he liked the stylization of shoujo figures, but this wasn't quite the same. Didn't like this because he felt like you're being accused of being sexist, whatever, because you're into this and that kind of, if your interests go this way, you must be this.
Yeah.
He thinks that Flame Toy shouldn't have deleted the pictures off the Twitter because it's just going to embolden bad behavior.
Yeah. Can't say that's wrong.
Which is not a worst point in the world.
Yeah.
Like also, like I saw people like, oh, if you like this, you're basically a fascist. And it's like,
that's not what
read your history books
it's because not what
I'm real fucking tired of people who don't understand what the fascists did.
They don't know what fascism is.
Yeah, like alt-right people today are basically they're the preschool version of fascism.
Yeah.
Like, do not ever think what you're seeing today is fascism at its core.
Yeah.
What you're seeing is preschool. Look, I'm wearing a swastika. Aren't I trendy? Fascism.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they were capable of and what they did and how they took advantage of an economic crisis is shockingly efficient.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was a much longer one, and like they were making out like people were complaining about like Windblade is supposed to be an influential character for young ladies, and what is this telling them? And their point was like this toy is aimed at very adult people, men and women who are buying this.
Yeah,
the ladies buying this are not the target audience for RID, Cyberverse, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's reflected by the price, which is like how much. Well, we talked about the Megatron being $50. One can assume Windblade is going to be, I don't know, $50. Yeah.
And they point out like they've seen much more sexualized figures on Crunchyroll.
Oh,
like
God,
that
yeah.
Anguomon. Remember I showed you a picture of that, the Anguomon statue?
Yeah,
where
did.
It's her and a small girl, and the girl is about the same size as her breast.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And they're just like, this woman is 20 feet tall. Take advantage of it. And also, the one who said that thanked us for talking about Dinozeon because they're excited for the show, and I'm like, me too. Really wish we knew more about it. But yeah, and also like it's a shame it took some appreciation away from Primal and Rodimus, which is also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there are much more sexualized figures out there that people don't do. I don't track the Digimon talk, but the Anguomon talk didn't really go on for very long, from what I could see of it.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, do you have anything else to add for this?
No, I think we've covered our general disappointment.
Yeah. If you do have any, I really wanted feedback from people who were against this because I figured I'd get some for people who are for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd really like some for people who are against it, and like I said, just whatever anyone says, for it, against it, whatever, please be civil to the other side.
Yeah.
And I do know why this toy looks the way it does. Flame Toy's got an external designer in, and he is most well known. He's a very big Transformers fan who also is most well known as a fairly successful hentai artist.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hentai manga artist, like he does the books.
That makes sense, I suppose.
So he came in and said, "I draw butts, and here's a butt."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could speak Japanese so we could talk to these people.
Yeah. I tried
Or
once
Chinese.
with one of the companies, but I never got any follow up.
Ah, shame. Understandable,
I might try
but
again.
you know.
I might try again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Windblade. Let me know what you think. I'm still very curious.
This will happen at least 2 more times this year, maybe 3 more times. Don't know if it'll happen to this extent, but this will happen at least 2 more times, I would say.
Well, Nicey's out in April, so that'll happen.
Yep. I don't think it'll happen as big, just because it'll be more like people kicking off when people see people post photos of her online. It'll happen again when we see colored prototype images of this Windblade figure, and then again it could happen once that figure once the Windblade comes out. So prepare to weather the storm once again with people screaming at each other. Whether it'll be as intense as it was over this week, I don't know. I'm hoping not. Yeah. But then again, I hope that it wouldn't get to this level, and I was just disappointed.
if you can take anything away from this podcast today, lads, it's treat people who don't agree with you with as much respect as you treat those who do agree with you, and maybe we'll make some fucking progress in the world, because right now everyone's yelling at each other and Australia's on fire.
Yeah, if you don't like it, that's fine. But...
And Ireland's being drowned, by the way.
Oh yeah. Good times. Woo.
I'm suddenly very happy I live in a high area.
Yeah. You can never discount living higher up. So I suppose, Mikey, we'll probably. Do you want to do what we did this week? Do you have a lot to cover this week?
Not a lot. There's one thing I definitely want to cover.
Okay.
Not a lot to go over. Very quickly, 01. They did the gaining control of the Berserker form episode. Little rushed, and I don't like the design of the new weapon.
Okay.
But I like the theme of the whole episode. It's quite sweet, and it's nice to see Kamen Rider Can Count get his ass kicked. Like his ass is kicked in this.
Okay.
And it's like, that's because you don't know maths. Set in Academy, which was basically transgender episodes.
Yeah, pretty much.
With the hyena, Yenna, which was fun. And a honey badger, which was fantastic.
Yep. Learned a lot about honey badgers this week, which was good.
She cannot be destroyed.
No. She also likes to feel pain because it's an unusual feeling for her.
Yeah, she looks like, yay, and little ouches appearing over her.
Because I didn't know that honey badgers released stink like a skunk.
Yep. And I mean, we all knew they were tough, but yeah, they don't go down.
No, definitely not.
But the Yenna thing is kind of funny for me. One, because I liked how it played. I liked the bit where she just goes to Hitomi, "You're so female!" and leaps at her and just like scream. And also Hitomi trying to be tough was just adorable.
Yeah.
But I like Yenna the character a lot. I really enjoy. I suppose I think going forward I'll be saying enjoy him because they as they say themselves, they are male.
Yes.
Like with loud captions, I am male. But it's just kind of weird for me that a hyena is getting into this traditional male masculinity thing when female hyenas are fucking monsters.
Yeah. It's actually
not
a bad way to address the issue, I suppose, in Japan, though, is it? Because it's an animal that you can... That, I guess, is... we're going through the whole humanization animals kind of thing that Sent on Academy is, so it kind of works really well for that aspect. And her family was very happy, like, just to be like, oh, okay, yeah, want to be a boy again, but we'll keep the dresses just in case she changes her mind, or he changes her mind in the future, which is like, oh, they're not forcing it, but it's like, oh, it's there. Which is nice.
Language is kind of difficult to keep up with because they jump backwards and forwards in this episode, so
yes.
He, him, her, he, her, like, so it gets a little confused itself.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not exactly breaking the bank for portraying transgender characters in fiction, but I thought it was quite nice. I thought it was a nice ending of just like, no one really gives a shit. Be yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good message.
And you yourself is a very unusually strong male hyena.
Yes. That defends the weak.
That defends the weak, but also kind of just wants to punch something in the face because it can take a hit.
Exactly.
Ranka's sister was amazing.
Yeah, she always is. She's great.
she shows up and the whole place is shaking.
She Dragon Ball Z punches the ground.
Yeah, that poor ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a good show. Good show.
Very good.
Really liking it.
Yeah.
Really liking that show. The only other thing of note was Cyberverse, which means I watched season 3, episode 1 to 20.
Oh damn! How many more episodes do you have left? Like 4?
6.
6.
So
okay.
Up until they were airing 4 a day, and now for next week they're airing 2 a day.
Yeah,
so
all right.
Finished on Wednesday.
Cool.
Also, the first time I've watched a Transformer show on television for, I did the maths on this, 10 years.
Yeah, because you actually have the option to watch it online. Sorry, on
Yes.
on the TV rather than having it come out in America months and months and months ahead.
Yeah, and then being impossible to find here because it's like satellite protected or something like that.
Yeah, and if it is satellite protected, it's usually like put in a death slot for the most part.
Yep.
So
no, this came out prime time on a Freeview channel that I can watch.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Really good season. Probably the best piece of Transformers television since Prime ended.
Well, wow, all right. I mean, that's not a massive bar, but that's good to know.
It's really quality, and like this shit series does not give a fuck. It don't give a fuck, Andy. The first 4 episodes are basically the end of season 2. And then there's a 13-episode arc. Also, Bumblebee has almost no significance for most of the show, which is hilarious to me. But like basically the main story is about Hot Rod.
Okay, that's weird.
And wow, did that actor really find a new way to play that character to make him way the fuck more interesting. The main cast for most of the show is very pick and mix, would be the way to put it, from both sides of the Autobot Decepticon side. Like, there's a couple of big names in there, but there's a lot of small names.
Interesting, okay.
Optimus and Megatron are basically absent for most of it, and even when they come back, they're not a huge part of it.
Right.
Wild Wheel is kind of amazing. But, like, you cannot predict anything that happens in this season, genuinely.
Okay.
It's bizarre. They don't give a fuck at all. We were saying that Netflix shows feel like it's really sticking to the formula.
Yeah.
Cyberverse has punched the formula in the dick.
Okay.
Like, Drift is different. Like, you can't predict what's going on with Drift, Vector Sigma, Hot Rod, Optimus, Megatron, Multiverse, Quintessons. The Quintessons are completely different. Starscream, holy fuck, did not see that coming. Soundwave, Shockwave, Clobber. Clobber is a main character in this now.
Do you feel
Clobber is the main Decepticon character in this?
Do you feel it's almost disappointing that they didn't start writing like this until now?
Yeah, kind of. Like, season 2 was a solidly written but safe series.
Yeah.
With a lot of moments that are, oh, cool, look at this, but it's no one asking you, phone. That's still operating in the kind of safe area we sometimes see with Transformers when they're pushing the boat a little.
Yeah. Season
3 does not care. Like, one of the main relationships in, like, I don't want to spoil any of the main relationships. You really can spoil a lot. Great villains. I love the Quintessons in this. Or Quintessons, as they're called. Megatron does something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's 6 episodes to go. They set up a new standard. I'm very, very curious. I could see the show ending on this season, and I could see that ending on a fucking high.
That might be why they've gone all out. Because maybe, who knows? Maybe the show has been cancelled after season 3, and they're like, oh, fuck you. Well, just go all in. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, like, the weakest episodes are the first 4, which are still quite good, and have so many dead people in them. Quite a few names die. One very, very surprising. And the most recent couple, because it's now, like, the follow-up from the crazy plot, and now they're like, here's a still pretty crazy, but slightly more normal Transformers plot, but it's still pretty crazy. Here's an entire episode that's the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Which is, like, there is a reason Wild Wheel looks the way he does. It's the reason he's a cowboy. And it makes complete logical sense. No, seriously, I really recommend. Also, so many new characters.
Right.
So many new characters. Too many to name. But yeah, so Cyberverse, really, really recommend you check it out.
That's good. All right, sweet.
Yeah. And I didn't buy anything this week, so what about you?
Oddly enough, we don't actually have time to hear what I did this week, because we've got to close the show up right now. Cause
yes.
It's about time that I get back to work. So, thank you.
And did nothing.
I did nothing until next week. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you very much, Mikey. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter as Irish Paleo, and if you want to leave us some feedback, the email address is moonbase2@gmail.com, and Twitter and Facebook and Weebly and Libsyn and everything else.
Yes, and Christoph left us stuff last week which I didn't get to, and he sent us this stuff this week which obviously we can't get to, so we'll talk about that next week. So apologies, Christoph, but your messages will be covered then. So you can find us on...
we will probably have a comic show this week.
Yes, probably. So you can find us on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube as Moonbase2 Transformers Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, CCTFW, and you can find us on the ccbunker.weebly.com as well. And you can head over to patreon.com/Moonbase2, $2 each month for the extended version of From the Files of Teletron 2 and the Moonbase Woo Woo as well. And that's us done, Mikey. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will catch you next week for more Transformers stuff.